Hello, and welcome to the Lee & Low Books Showcase webinar. I'm Cheryl Klein, the editorial director of Lee & Low Books, and I'm here with Jessica Echeverria, senior editor at Lee & Low, and Stacy Whitman, the publisher of our novel in print, 2 books. We also wanted to give a shout out to our fellow Lee & Low editors, Louise May, editor-at-large, and Candace Costin, our assistant editor. This small team creates all the books you'll see here, and it's our pleasure and honor to do so. For this presentation, I'll take you through our picture books. Jessica will guide you through our list of early readers and chapter books, and then Stacy will take over for our middle grade and YA novels. You should have received a PDF with your reminder email with basic information about all the books in this presentation. For more information, you can visit this link to download our 2019 catalog, or go to their pages on Lee & Low, the individual book pages on leeandlow.com. Nearly all of our titles are also available on Edelweiss, so if you're a reviewer or a librarian, please check them out there. If you'd like to tweet about anything you see in this presentation, or Instagram or whatever you choose, please tag us at Lee & Low, or use the hashtag LLBooks19. This webinar is being recorded, and a link to the recording will be sent to you in a couple of days. It will also be available on leeandlow.com. If you have any questions, feel free to type them in the chat box, where our marketing associate Jaleesa Corey is hanging out, and they'll be answered in the chat or afterward by us. We always like talking a little bit about Lee & Low Books. We were established in 1991, so we're now celebrating our 28th year in publishing. Then as now, we're family-owned and fully independent, one of the few minority-owned publishing houses in the United States. And we're still dedicated to our founding mission, to publish diverse stories all children and young adults can enjoy. We're always excited to work with debut authors and artists of color especially, and we're proud to have published the first books by many outstanding talents, including Caldecott winner Jabaka Steptoe, Paula Yu, and Don Tate. And if you are an unpublished author of color or an Indigenous author for children or young adults, or if you know such an author, please consider our annual writing contests. We offer the New Voices Award for a picture book manuscript and the New Visions Award for a middle grade or YA novel or graphic novel. And the winners of each contest receive a cash prize and the publication of their manuscripts. The deadline is coming up at the end of the month, and you can find out more at leeandlow.com/writing contests. If you'd like to order any of the books you see today, you can go through our website, leeandlow.com, wholesalers like Ingram, Baker and Taylor, and Follett, your local bookseller, or your favorite online retailer. If you're a teacher or school administrator, please get in touch with us directly. Our sales team works closely with schools and districts to create customized orders that fit your students' needs. You can reach out to Abe Barretto, our Vice President of Educational Sales, for more information. Finally, our website, leeandlow.com, is full of amazing resources like teachers' guides, author interviews, reading lists, our submissions information, and the open book blog, where you can also keep up with what we're publishing, thinking, and talking about. Please check it out. So without further ado, welcome to our 2019 picture book list. Our books this year range from serious biographies to warm-hearted celebrations, sweet family stories, and, a new thing for us, some humor titles too. We hope you'll enjoy reading this diversity as much as we enjoy working on it. First up, in January, we published Malala Yousafzai, Warrior with Words, and its Spanish companion, Malala Yousafzai, Guerrera con Palabras, by Karen Legge-Abaraya, with collage illustrations by Susan L. Roth. Growing up in the Swat Valley of Pakistan, Malala Yousafzai loved books in school, and her parents supported her desire for an education. But in 2009, the Taliban closed the schools for girls. Malala, just 11 years old, began to speak and blog about the right of all children to receive an education. After the fighting ceased, Malala continued to speak out. That's when she was shot in the head by a Taliban gunman. However, this injury just strengthened Malala's resolve, and only 9 months after being attacked, she addressed the United Nations. In 2014, she became the youngest person ever to receive the Nobel Peace Prize. And to this day, Malala continues to be an advocate for universal childhood education. This book features extensive back matter about Pakistan, the Taliban, and organizations that are working worldwide to help ensure that all children have the right to attend school. As School Library Journal said in a starred review, Malala Yousafzai, Warrior with Words, will surely facilitate conversations about the power of words, resilience, and the ability of one person to inspire meaningful change. Next we have Under My Hijab by Hina Khan, illustrated by Alaya Jalil, available now. You might know Hina Khan from her books Golden Domes and Silver Lanterns, or Amina's Voice, and many other wonderful titles for children about the Muslim American experience. With Under My Hijab, she wanted to write a book that would address questions about the hijab without objectifying hijabis as other, and would show the diversity of roles that Muslim women play in the world. So in every pair of spreads in this book, we first see our narrator, the little girl in this slide, with a friend or a relative wearing her hijab out in the world, as Mama is here. Then, on the next spread, we see how the friend or relative takes her hijab off in a private setting or with other women. This pattern continues through Auntie, Jinnah the scout leader, teenage Zara, and cousin Iman, each one wearing a different style of headscarf and pursuing interests from fashion to taekwondo. In the final spreads, our narrator appreciates all the amazing women around her and looks forward to expressing her personality through her own hijab when the time comes. With charming illustrations by newcomer Alaya Jalil, who is a hijabi herself, this book has done so well that we're already heading into our 4th printing, helped in part by enthusiastic reviews like these. And we're super excited that Muslim women and girls are getting to see themselves reflected in more books. Next we have Zombies Don't Eat Veggies by Megan Lacera and Jorge Lacera, available in both English and Spanish versions. Mo Romero is a zombie with a deep, dark secret. He loves veggies. Tomatoes, tantalizing. Peppers, pure perfection. Mo loves them all and then makes delicious dishes out of them. The problem? Mo's parents find vegetables absolutely repulsive and disgusting. According to them, zombies are supposed to eat foods like arroz con ojos and brain and bean tortillas. Mo tries to get his parents to give peas a chance and even disguises gazpacho as blood bile bisque. But his plan doesn't work, as his parents remind him once again, zombies don't eat veggies. Try as he might though, Mo can't fight what he likes. And he reminds his parents that even if he has different tastes, he's still the same zombie they've always loved. And while most zombies don't eat veggies, the Romeros know they're more than zombies. They're a family. This debut book by husband and wife team Megan and Jorge Lacera received a starred review from Kirkus, which said, "Tasty and homegrown, this hits a strange and specific trifecta. A lightly bilingual book that feels inclusive, not only for Latinx kids, but also for different eaters and for those who aren't afraid of gory, monster-themed humor." We hope that might describe you and some of the kids that you serve, and that you'll check it out. Now we have another family story with a very different flavor. When Aiden Became a Brother by librarian Kyle Lukoff, who some of you might know, and illustrator Kaylani Juanita. This is an own voices story, like many of our titles, and we're delighted that it introduces a truly new narrative about transgender kids to picture books, a story that moves beyond the initial coming out to offer a glimpse of everyday life for one special family. When Aiden was born, everyone thought he was a girl, but he realizes early on in the story that he's really a trans boy. And when he shares that with his parents, they all adapt. When Mom and Dad announce that they're going to have another baby, Aiden is excited. But being a big brother feels super high stakes to him because he worries that maybe he'll get something wrong and the new child will be unhappy, like he was when he was little. In the end, however, Aiden recognizes that he knows the most important thing about big brotherhood: how to love with his whole heart. As the balloons show, this book quietly challenges the emphasis our culture places on a new baby's assigned gender, encouraging readers to question it as well. And it celebrates the many transitions a person and a family can experience over a lifetime. With its warmth and originality and its wonderfully distinctive illustrations, When Aiden Became a Brother has received 4-starred reviews so far, as well as high praise from Jacqueline Woodson and Alex Gino, among others. Another fun family story, Sumo Joe by Mia Winjin, illustrated by Nat Iwata. You may know the author here, Mia Winjin, as Pragmatic Mom on Twitter, Instagram, and her blog, and as the creator of Multicultural Children's Book Day and co-chair of KidLitCon. This is her first picture book, and we're thrilled she's chosen to publish it with us. In this fun-filled story, Sumo Joe and his friends enjoy being sumo wrestlers. They tie on makeshift mawashi belts, practice sumo drills, and compete in their homemade ring. They even uphold sumo's ultimate rule: no girls allowed. So, when Sumo Joe's little sister gets home from Aikido class and wants to join in the fun, Sumo Joe is torn between the two things he's good at: sumo and being a big brother. It all comes down to an epic sibling showdown with a surprise twist and a warm-hearted ending. The back matter includes an author's note about the history of sumo wrestling and an illustrated glossary to expand readers' understanding of the sumo terms in the text. Written in a distinctive pattern rhyme, this is a rousing read for anyone who's a fan of siblings, fun writing, or of course, the power of sumo. Todos Iguales, All Equal, Un Corrido de Lemongrove, or Ballad of Lemongrove, by Christy Hale. Can you name the first successful school desegregation case in U.S. history? It's not Brown versus Board of Education. It's not even Mendez versus Westminster, which appeared in Duncan Tonatia's Separate is Never Equal. It's Roberto Alvarez versus the Board of Trustees of the Lemon Grove School District. And Todos Iguales, All Equal, Un Corrido de Lemongrove, A Ballad of Lemongrove, is the first children's book to tell the empowering true story of this case. Roberto Alvarez loved the Lemon Grove School near San Diego, California, which he and other Mexican-American children attended along with their Anglo friends. Everybody studied and played together as equals. But in the summer of 1930, the Lemon Grove School Board decided the Mexican-American children had a language handicap, quote unquote, and needed to be Americanized. They built another school out of shoddy materials to segregate the Mexican-American students. The Mexican families organized to have their children boycott the new school. They filed a lawsuit, and Roberto became the plaintiff in the case against the school board. 2 months later, the judge ruled in favor of the children's right to an equal education, and Roberto Alvarez and the other Mexican-American students returned to the Lemon Grove School to learn as equals once again. The Lemon Grove case stands as a major victory in the battle against school segregation and is a testament to the tenacity of an immigrant community and its fight for equal rights. We're proud that Todos Iguales is the first book to tell the full history of this case. In researching the story, Christy worked closely with the Lemon Grove Historical Society and community, including Roberto Alvarez Jr., the son of the plaintiff. The book is fully bilingual, and back matter includes a corrido, a Mexican ballad that traditionally tells a story with a social justice theme and detailed information. In recognition of its specialness, Todos Iguales has received starred reviews from School Library Journal and Booklist, and is a Junior Library Guild selection. Our next beautiful book is Rise, From Caged Bird to Poet of the People, Maya Angelou, by Bethany Hegedus, and illustrated by Tanya Engel. In celebration of the 50th anniversary of I Know Why the Caged Bird Sings, this comprehensive picture book biography geared toward older readers, shows how Maya Angelou rose above a childhood of trauma and emotional pain to become one of the most inspiring voices of our lifetime. It traces Maya's life from her early days in Stamps, Arkansas, where a love of books helped her overcome the tragedy of sexual abuse, to her blossoming as a dancer and performer, and then a freedom fighter and humanitarian, to her triumphant rise as a poet of the people and inspiration to millions. With a foreword by Maya's grandson, Colin Johnson, Rise celebrates the luminous life, spirit, and legacy of this phenomenal woman. We have a wonderful video featuring the author and illustrator that we'd love to share with you here. Here we go.
I knew that Lee and Low was looking for someone with vibrancy and passion and movement, and who kind of embodied the spirit of Maya Angelou, the fluidity of her work, and the attention to emotion just blew me away as I saw the book progress. The book opens with the train that Maya and Bailey are on when they are sent to the South for the first time to Stamps, Arkansas, on their own as children.
The bond that she had with Bailey was really important in her life. I wanted to show this sort of light emanating from him, and the light, I believe, is within all of us. If I could paint everyone with a light around them, I probably would. My own personal formula, I feel, is yellow and light and purple and oppression. Purple shows up in a particular scene where Maya is experiencing deep sadness and fear.
Throughout her life, she talks about not just surviving, but thriving. And so while this is not a depiction of her thriving, there are many that are to come in her life.
In researching Maya Angelou and her story, I'm learning some of the things about her past that, in a way, mirror my past. And I feel like she's a family member now. She's like my auntie. She's not Dr. Maya Angelou, she's Auntie Maya Angelou.
And here was a girl, who was silent for many years, who stopped speaking, who found her strength and solace in the written word and found her voice again. Here she was reading her own words in front of the country, is something I think only she could do coming from where she came from.
Now, children, without realizing it, will have a whole world opened up to them that they didn't realize could be something tangible for them. Like, I can become an artist. This woman who illustrated this book is an artist, and she's telling the story of another artist. It starts with books, and it starts with images that you can relate to, that look like you. And the world is your oyster once you get a little bit of that.
So we hope you'll check out Rise, which is available now.
I knew that.
Now we have The Unstoppable Garrett Morgan, Inventor, Entrepreneur, Hero, by Joan DeSico and illustrated by Ebony Glynn. Born in 1877 to freed enslaved people, Garrett Morgan moved from Kentucky to Cleveland at a young age and used his ingenuity to overcome racial barriers and forge a career as a successful businessman. When Garrett saw a need, he filled it. He noticed that firefighters were ill-equipped to enter burning buildings, so he created the safety hood, a device that allowed them to breathe in smoke-filled spaces. In 1916, the safety hood was put to the ultimate test when a tunnel collapsed near Lake Erie, trapping workers underground. With a small group of volunteers, Garrett led a daring mission to rescue the trapped men. The mission was successful, and the safety hood was later developed into the gas mask that saved thousands of soldiers' lives in World War I. Garrett Morgan dedicated his talents and resources to improving the lives of others, and we're proud to be honoring him with this book. Back matter includes a timeline of major events in Garrett's life and his other inventions. Lastly, on this list, this coming October, we'll publish I Remember, Poems and Pictures of Heritage, compiled by the acclaimed anthologist Lee Bennett Hopkins, who recently passed away. In this marvelous collection, poems by diverse poets are paired with illustrations by artists from similar backgrounds to honor what is both unique and universal about growing up in the United States. The impressive array of poets and artists includes both award winners and newcomers. So, for instance, Newbery Medal winner Kwame Alexander takes us on a riotous ride through good times and sad, spent with his extended family. A journey perfectly captured by Coretta Scott King Award winner Michelle Wood's vibrant overlapping images. Pura Belpré Award winner Rafael Lopez symbolically visualizes Jorge Argueta's memories of the river of his hometown. And Nick Bruhl talks about his confusion over having to pick one racial identity on a form, while newcomer Janine Macbeth shows herself trying to figure out her own mixed ancestry. Kirkus said recently in a starred review, "Readers of any age and background will find much here that sparks their memories and opens their eyes." And PW said in its starred review, "There is truly something for everyone in these pages." We hope you'll check it out. That rounds out our hardcover list. But Lee and Low is also proud to be one of the very few publishers that put all of our picture books into affordable paperback form. And you can see our 2019 selection of titles here. We also want to give a special shout out to two favorites that are now back in print, in both English and Spanish, after a long time away. Baby Born by Anastasia Swin, illustrated by Chi Wei Chang, one of our first books for the very young, and A Library for Juana, or Una Biblioteca para Juana, the story of Sor Juana Inés de la Cruz, written by Pat Mora and illustrated by Beatriz Vidal. That brings us to the end of our picture book list for 2019. So I'm going to turn this over to Jessica to talk about our early readers and chapter books.
Thank you, Cheryl. Hi, I'm Jessica Chavarria, Senior Editor at Lee and Low Books, and I'm pleased to share our early readers and chapter books with you. If you're looking for an early reader series that looks like your kid's real-life classroom, look no farther than the Confetti Kids. These delightful books focus on 5 friends, Henry, Lily, May, Pablo, and Padma, who have everyday adventures in their neighborhood. We've published 8 books in the series so far, all written, illustrated, edited, and designed by a diverse creative team. And we work closely with our literacy specialists to ensure that each book meets the specifications for Fontes and Pinnell Level I and connects with different curriculums. All the books contain rich text features like a table of contents, chapter breaks, and an easy and fun activity that children can do with the adults in their lives. And all are available in either paper over board or paperback. We just published 2 new books in the series. Follow That Map by Sherry Tan, illustrated by Shirley Ang Benitez. In this book, Pablo and his friends want to go to Coney Island. It's pretty far from where they live, so they'll have to figure out how to get there. Good thing Pablo has his trusty maps to help. Pablo carefully maps their route. First, they have to walk from their neighborhood block to the bus station. On the bus, they learn about proper bus etiquette, like giving up your seat for someone in need. Then Pablo guides them to the subway station, where they learn the best train to take. It's a long trip, but they finally arrive in Coney Island, where Pablo takes out one more map, but to everyone's relief, it's a map of the amusement park rides. The book offers a nice introduction to maps and different modes of public transportation. The activity included on the last page prompts readers to create a map of their own neighborhood. Our second new book in this series is The Buddy Bench, written by Gwendolyn Hooks and again illustrated by Shirley. Padma has always felt comfortable making new friends, but when she notices a new kid at school standing by himself during recess, she discovers that making new friends is not that easy for everyone. So with the help of her friends, she creates a buddy bench where anyone can go if they ever feel lonely and need a friend. They paint it and make up a fun song to encourage others to use the bench. After some time, the new student finally sits on the bench and Padma and her friends go over to introduce themselves. In the end, everyone has made a new friend thanks to the buddy bench. The story was inspired by a number of buddy benches that have sprung up around the country as a way to counter loneliness and bullying in schools. The activity included asked readers to think about a time they've ever felt lonely and if they think a buddy bench would be helpful in their school. Next up is the Rafi and Rosie series. We're happy to announce the addition of a fourth title to this popular early reader series by Lulu Delacre. In Rafi and Rosie Music, Rafi and Rosie Musica, the irrepressible Coqui siblings explore traditional Puerto Rican forms of music and dance. Like the other books in the series, they are available in both English and Spanish editions and are intended for early fluent readers in grades K through 3. Every book includes a glossary, table of contents, 3 chapters, and a back section with additional information, often including a fun activity. In the first chapter of Rafi and Rosie Music, Rafi and Rosie drum and dance to the rolling and rippling beats of fiery bomba instruments. In the second chapter, they sing and sway with the rhythms of bluesy plena songs. And in the third chapter, they attend a party where they dance salsa. In the back matter, kids can learn to make their own instruments out of gourds and get into these rhythms themselves. Now on to our chapter books. We're excited to add a few more books to our nonfiction chapter book series, The Story Of. Geared towards readers ages 8 through 12, each title in the series presents readers with the biography of a multicultural historical figure. This year, we have new titles focusing on movie star Anna May Wong, civil rights hero John Lewis, and Olympic swimmer Duke Kanahimoku, as well as all-star athlete Jim Thorpe, banker of the people Muhammad Yunus, and trailblazing actor Ira Aldridge. Each book includes nonfiction sidebars, bolded vocabulary words in a glossary, quote boxes, photographs, timelines, source lists, and recommended further reading. All of these titles are available now, many with teacher's guides and strong reviews. And finally, for the teachers out there, we wanted to highlight a terrific new ongoing series in our Bebop Books line, Mas Piñata. Mas Piñata is a dual language leveled reading series with books for emerging and beginning readers at Fontes and Pinel levels A through I. It was created by longtime educators and was the first authentic early literacy program for Spanish-speaking students in the United States. We now have nearly 100 titles available in both Spanish and English. The books feature authentic stories featuring kids who look like your students, high-frequency words, simple sentence patterns, familiar words and concepts, natural oral language sentence structures, large, well-spaced print. And we support the books with a comprehensive literacy program, including lesson plans and assessments. And that's Mas Piñata and our early readers and chapter books. I'll now hand this over to Stacy Whitman, publisher of 2 books.
Hello, I'm Stacy Whitman, publisher of 2 books, and I'm excited to share our novels for older readers with you today. A couple things I want to note before I start. All of our new hardcover novels are own voices titles written by an author from the community being depicted, And also, we're very proud to note that each of our 2019 hardcover novels is a Junior Library Guild selection. First up, and available now, is Stone River Crossing, a young middle grade novel based on Tim Tingle's award-winning picture book, Crossing Bookchitto. Tim Tingle is an Oklahoma Choctaw and an award-winning storyteller and author of more than 20 books. In 1993, he retraced the Trail of Tears to Choctaw homelands in Mississippi, and he began recording stories of tribal elders. He wrote Crossing Bookchitto from those stories, and this middle grade novel is a reworking of those stories for an older audience. When Martha Tom crosses the Bookchitto River, she makes an unlikely friendship. The Bookchitto is the only border between her town in the Choctaw Nation and a slave-owning plantation in Mississippi Territory. But crossing the river brings a surprise friendship with Lil Mo, a boy who is enslaved on the other side. Then Lil Mo discovers that his mother is about to be sold, and his family will be broken apart. Martha Tom has the solution. Crossing the river to Choctaw Territory will help the whole family find freedom together. This story is a reminder that the strongest bridge between cultures is friendship. And we're very proud that it has received 3-star reviews and is a Junior Library Guild selection. Next up is Indian No More by Charlene Willing McManus with Tracy Sorrell. Did you know that the US government terminated more than 100 Native American tribes between 1954 and 1963? This is the first novel for young readers to address that shameful history. When Regina's Umpqua tribe is terminated by the government and her family must relocate from Oregon to Los Angeles, she goes on a quest to understand her identity as an Indian. Regina's father signs the family up for the federal Indian relocation program and moves them to Los Angeles. The move is confusing for Regina, but it also opens up a whole new world. She's never met kids of other races, and they've never met a real Indian. There's a learning curve for everyone. Meanwhile, her father believes that if he just works hard, their family will be treated just like white Americans. But it's not that easy. It's 1957, it's the civil rights era, and the family struggles without their tribal community. This is a gorgeous novel based on Charlene Willing McManus's own tribal history. In the 1950s, the Confederated Tribes of Grand Ronde went through this termination process. Pictured here, you can see a young Charlene with her sister and young friends from 58th Place in Los Angeles. This is a very special book for us, not least because in the middle of the editorial process, Charlene Willing McManus lost her battle with cancer. With Charlene's blessing, we continued the editorial process to complete Charlene's legacy with revisions from Charlene's friend and Cherokee Nation member Tracy Sorrell. Tracy is a wonderful writer whose picture book, We Are Grateful, won multiple awards, including a Cybert Award, a Cybert Honor, an Orbis Pictus Honor, and a Boston Globe Hornbook Honor Award. Tracy worked with the Confederated Tribes of Grand Ronde to make sure that we checked all the various details Charlene was unable to check. Take a look at the extensive back matter for more details. This book has already earned wonderful early praise and is a Junior Library Guild selection, and we just learned this morning that the book received a starred review from School Library Journal. The Magnolia Sword, A Ballad of Mulan, written by Sherry Thomas. If you love stories of young women taking charge of their destinies and of their countries too, if you like the novels of Renee Audier, Kristen Cashore, or Marie Lu, or if you've ever hummed I'll Make a Man Out of You from the 1998 Disney animated film Mulan, you're going to love The Magnolia Sword, and your YA readers will too. It pairs the traditional plotline about a teenage girl who goes to war in her father's place with a story inspired by Chinese martial arts films, where Mulan must fight in a hereditary duel to reclaim her family's honor, resulting in a book full of action, betrayal, a found family, and romance. This is the first ever YA standalone retelling of the story, amazingly enough, and we think that it will thrill readers everywhere. Sherry Thomas grew up in China and has had an amazing career here in the United States, particularly as a romance novelist. She also wrote a YA trilogy that started with The Burning Sky, as well as the best-selling Lady Sherlock adult mystery series. But she says herself that The Magnolia Sword is one of her best and most meaningful books. And since Disney will be releasing its live-action remake of the animated film next March, the timing for it couldn't be better. Rogue Heart by Axie O. In 2017, we published Rebel Soul by Axie O, a new Visions Award-winning YA science fiction novel. Rebel Soul received 3-star reviews as well as a Junior Library Guild selection. It's a gorgeously written cross between Korean drama and a mecha science fiction story like Pacific Rim or Gundam. The book has received acclaim from many corners, including a very strong contingent of fans who wanted an Alex and Amma story. Alex and Amma are 2 supporting characters who readers wanted to know more deeply. So, by popular demand, here's the Amma story. In this YA novel where Warcross meets Final Fantasy, this time focusing on Amma, the young telepath who appeared in the first book as a supporting character, it's 2 years after the end of Rebel Soul. Amma joins a rebel group on a secret mission to end a decades-long war. As the war ramps up, that rebel group is given its most dangerous mission yet, to infiltrate the base of the Alliance's new war commander, a young man rumored to have no fear of death. But when Amma sees the commander for the first time, she discovers his identity. Alex Kim, the boy she once loved, the boy who betrayed her. Part heist novel, part love story, and all Axie O. If you loved Rebel Soul, this is a continuation of the Axie-created magic. And now in paperback, this year we've released in paperback the 2nd book in the YA science fiction trilogy, Tankborn, the Tankborn trilogy by Karen Sandler. Tankborn is already out in paperback. On the planet Loka, about 400 years into the future, Kayla is a gen, a genetically engineered non-human, fighting for her society to recognize her humanity and those of her fellow gens. In this continuation of the first book, Kayla has to hunt down the source of a deadly virus that only kills gens while working for her freedom. I'm going to pass this back to Cheryl now.
Hello, this is Cheryl one more time to close us out. We wanted to share just a small selection of the beautiful books that we'll be publishing in 2020. First of all, we have Dream Builder, the story of architect Philip Freelon, written by Kelly Starling Lyons and illustrated by Laura Freeman. Philip Freelon was born in Philadelphia in the early 1950s. As a child, he developed his artistic and mathematical talents at the same time he watched the civil rights and Black is Beautiful movements unfold in the country. So it was natural that Phil would grow up to be an architect, specializing in innovative museums and other spaces that built community and celebrated heritage. And this culminated in the most powerful heritage project of all, co-creating the Smithsonian's National Museum of African American History and Culture. You might have seen Phil Freelon's obituary in the news recently, as he passed away from ALS earlier this summer. We're so glad he was able to see Laura's powerful art and write the foreword or the afterword to this book before he left us. And Dream Builder will stand as a tribute to him and all the other creators of color who use their gifts to move our country forward. 2020 also brings the publication of A Space for Me by Catherine Falwell, illustrated with her charming signature cut paper illustrations. Have you ever been frustrated by someone who takes your things and makes noise when you just want to have time and space for yourself? Well, Alex has that problem. He has to share a room with their little brother, Lucas, who can be really annoying, and it's just not fair. All Alex wants is a quiet space for himself. So one day in the backyard, he creates the perfect spot to read, play, think, and dream. But then Lucas is sad because he misses Alex. So Alex helps Lucas build his own space in the backyard. So that way they can each have a space of their own and each other as well. We'll also add 3 more titles to the Story of series in 2020, focusing on Civil War hero Robert Smalls, Nobel Prize-winning environmentalist Wangari Maathai, and Olympic diver Sammy Lee. Finally, we've got several books for middle grade and young adults coming out next year. Today we're highlighting 3, starting with On These Magic Shores by Shamile Saeed Mendez. On These Magic Shores is a magical middle grade novel that speaks to large contemporary issues as it focuses on one girl and her family. When Minerva's mom goes missing, Minerva feels huge pressure to hide this fact to protect her little sisters. What if they're put in foster care and separated? Or worse, sent out of the country for being perceived as immigrants? On These Magic Shores is a gorgeous reverse Peter Pan story in which a young girl must learn how to be a kid and trust a few adults in her life, with the help of some fairy dust. It'll be coming out in April 2020. Next we have Julieta and the Regent Diamond Enigma by Luisana Duarte Armendáriz. Set in Boston and Paris, this is the perfect book for fans of Chasing Vermeer by Blue Balliet and from the Mixed Up Files of Mrs. Basil E. Frankweiler by E.L. Konigsberg. Julieta doesn't want to leave her pregnant mother behind in Boston, yet she's also thrilled to travel to France, where her father, an art handler, will collect art pieces for a new exhibit at the Boston Museum of Fine Arts. When a precious artifact is stolen, Julieta and her father must race against the clock to save Dad's job and get home in time for the new baby's arrival. Julieta's curious imagination and appetite for adventure make the task harder for both father and daughter, bringing humor and heart to this middle grade mystery coming in May 2020. Finally, to end with a bang, we have a sneak peek at Clockwork Curandera, created by David Bowles and Raoul III. This graphic novel is a steampunk retelling of Frankenstein, set in an alternate world colonial Mexico. When apprentice shaman Cristina Franco Pindragon is killed by witch owls, her brother Enrique brings her back to life with alchemy and engineering. Now partly mechanical, she vows to protect the Republic of Santander from whatever menace caused the attack, even though her very existence is an abomination to its citizens. Between the action-packed story and the wonderfully detailed illustrations you see here, this book is going to be an instant classic. And this is just a preview of what's to come. The final book will be in full color, reminiscent of turn of the 20th century prints from the US-Mexico border. We're so excited for this one, and we cannot wait to share it with you. That brings us to the end of our presentation here today. Thank you so much for your time and attention. This slide shows a number of ways you can follow Lee and Low on social media, and we hope you'll keep up with us. You can find our sales information here one more time for both general orders and educational sales. And of course, you can always find more information at our website, leeandlow.com. Our next webinar will be held Wednesday, September 25th, when literacy specialist Katie Potter and educator Andrea Adomaco will talk about the growing field of trauma-informed education. Our trauma-informed book list showcases child protagonists who cope with trauma in a variety of ways. You'll come away from the webinar with applicable classroom and library activities for elementary and middle school, and trauma-informed resources and books appropriate for the age you serve. Registration information for this will be coming soon. Thank you again, and if there aren't any questions, we hope you have a wonderful rest of your summer and the beginning of the new school year. Thank you for your time.